Welcome to Eternal Manna, the daily devotional broadcast of Grace Gospel Church. We are looking at Psalm 62, the secrets of an unshaken life. And we are looking now at verse 8. And yesterday we talked about trusting in God at all times. Now, as we continue to look at this verse, I'm going to give you, I think, the greatest definition of prayer. Pour out your heart to Him. Pour out your heart to Him. That is what prayer is all about. So what does this expression, pour out your heart to God, mean? Express without restraint. Please write those three words down. Express without restraint. Open up to God. Tell Him everything that is there in your heart. Don't hold anything back. Lay it all on the table. Pouring out my heart to God is an act of trusting in God. Again, another very important statement. As I pour out my heart to God, express without restraint, what am I actually doing? I am expressing my trust in God. God, I am relying on you to help me in this situation. I am desperate for your help in this particular situation that I am facing. So we go back to 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 15 and 16, where Hannah is in the temple and she has been praying but misunderstood by Eli. And this is what Hannah says to Eli. I am a woman deeply troubled. I am shaken. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. There you have it. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. Did you notice those words? Deeply troubled, great anguish and grief. And what did Hannah do? She went to the temple to express without restraint. She poured out her heart to the Lord. Psalm 142 and verse 1 says, I pour out. So there you have that expression. I pour out my complaints before Him and tell Him all my troubles. I am so overwhelmed. These are all great verses that encourage us to express ourselves in prayer to the Lord. Open up to Him. I pour out my complaints. It's okay to complain to God. It's okay. God can take it. God understands. And to tell Him all of our troubles because we are so overwhelmed. So again, what an incentive to prayer, isn't it? We all need these very precious prayer reminders. And sometimes our prayer life becomes very stagnant. It becomes very dry. It becomes stale. It can stop altogether. Maybe we throw up our hands in despair and say, what's the point praying? Nothing is happening. In fact, things seem to be going from bad to worse. Prayer is not so much the circumstances of our life changing. Prayer has got everything to do with my inner person changing. My inner person changing. And haven't you discovered it? When you unburden yourself to a fellow human being, you feel so relieved. The load becomes so light. And that's exactly what happens when you talk to God in prayer. When you pour out your heart to Him, you become so relieved and your load becomes lighter. So may I encourage you, to trust in God at all times and to pour out your heart to Him and leave the results with Him. Amen.